What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a very interesting Liverpool transfer news video because Sports Illustrated are claiming that Liverpool are interested in signing German international midfielder Julian Brandt. So let me know, what do you think about him in the comments below. Do you think that he would be a good signing? They are claiming that Leverkusen want 60 million euros for his services, and in this video we will take a deep look at what he could offer for Liverpool and also his profile, what kind of player he is, which positions he can play in this new Liverpool team, and also I will take a look at Liverpool's pre-season fixtures and what you can expect going into next season. So if you enjoy these types of transfer news videos, please leave a like, it really helps me out, and subscribe, click that bell, turn on the notifications so you never miss a future video. And Liverpool are interested because Julian Brandt is one of the biggest young talents in German football. He got 12 goals and 7 assists in 39 appearances for Leverkusen, and yes, he turned us down last season where we offered 25 million pounds for him for his services, but he also said the reason for that was that, and I quote Julian Brandt here, "My gut feeling and my head were telling me the time was not right to move yet. I had to straighten things out in Leverkusen." Of course, there are players who say a year without European football before the World Cup is a good reason to move, but if you move to a bigger club a year before the World Cup, you risk taking time at first to settle, which possibly means playing fewer games, and he basically didn't want to risk his place at the World Cup in the Germany squad, so that's why he didn't move. But I think he's definitely interested. According to that interview, he definitely is interested, and according to reports made by Calcio Insider, Liverpool have been tracking the German youngster for quite a while now, and I've watched his performances at the World Cup and he impressed me. Even when Germany didn't play well, Julian Brandt had some good cameo appearances. He actually hit the post with a ferocious, amazing strike in the first game against Mexico in the last minute, which they could have equalized from. And I think he hit the post in the second game as well, if I remember correctly. So yes, of course, he's not like a first choice attacker, but when he came on for Germany as a substitute, he really impressed me, and we shouldn't expect him at 22 years old to be on the same level as world-class wingers. But to score 12 goals and get 7 assists for Bayer Leverkusen is a very, very good return, and he actually has 32 goals in total in his career in 5 seasons for Leverkusen. And as I said, he burst through the scene as a youngster, as a 17-year-old. Now he's 22, I think he's ready to move on to a bigger club. And why I'm so excited about this is that he can play in a number of positions. He can play as a left winger, he can play as a right winger, he can play as a center attacking midfielder, but also he can play on either side of the defensive midfielder in a three-man midfield as a creative player who can get past people, and he has pace, he can dribble, he can score, he can get assists. 12 goals and 7 assists is a really balanced season. Those are probably a little bit lower numbers than what Sadio Mane got for Liverpool, so I think that he would be a brilliant option to have. And also the reason why, you know, this would be not the cheapest option, he would cost about 55 million pounds, is that he just signed a new contract for Bayer Leverkusen last month. The reason for that was that his previous contract was set to expire in 2019, so just 1 year from now. So basically Leverkusen had to tie him down to another contract, otherwise they could have been forced to sell him this summer and he could have moved 1 year later for absolutely nothing. And also he had a release clause of just like 16 million pounds, which is about 20 million euros, and they of course were very afraid that many clubs would have triggered that release clause this summer. And Julian Brandt, you know, he grew up playing for Leverkusen. That's where he became became a professional footballer. So I think he owes a lot to Leverkusen. He actually played in his youth career, he played for VfL Wolfsburg as well, but then he moved to Bayer Leverkusen, where he played for their second team, and then he burst through, and he played all through the Germany under 15, 16, 17, 19, 20 and 21 levels, and he even played for the German Olympic team. And he actually won the FIFA Confederations Cup in 2017 with Germany, and also he won a silver Olympic medal in 2016. So he has some experience in international football. He already played 18 times for the German national team, and for a 22-year-old, those are very good numbers. He also won the European Under-19 Championship in 2014, and he actually got the most assists in the German Cup in 2015 and 16. So he's 183 centimeters tall, that's about 6 foot 0 inches tall, and he's, as I already said, only 22 years old. He only just turned 22 on May the 2nd, so he has most of his football career ahead of him. And yes, he would be a very, very pricey option at 60 million euros, but he would provide goals and assists, and he would be a really, really great option to have when either Mane or Salah, or even one of our midfielders like Wijnaldum or Naby Keita, if either of these four players are tired, injured, suspended, or maybe they have a loss of form, Julian Brandt could start games. And I think, yes, you could argue that maybe for a player who doesn't straight away slot into our starting lineup, maybe he's too overpriced, but I would argue with you that why couldn't we play Brandt instead of somebody like Jorginho Wijnaldum? Wijnaldum, of course, it's very well documented that he hasn't scored an away goal until the Roma semi-final in the Champions League in English football, not just for Liverpool but for Newcastle United as well. On the other hand, Julian Brandt could offer a lot of creativity and a lot of attacking flair in midfield, something that the Liverpool midfield lagged last season when we had somebody like Milner, Henderson, and either Wijnaldum or Milner, Henderson, and Emre Can. Those were really that's a strong midfield, but there is not a lot of creativity and not a lot of goal threat coming from midfield, and I think that's one area where Liverpool wanted to strengthen. We already signed Fabinho and Naby Keita, which are brilliant transfers, but Julian Brandt would be exactly the kind of player that Jurgen Klopp loves to work with. He's young, he's of course German, just like Jurgen Klopp, so I think Jurgen Klopp knows him very well. Jurgen Klopp knows the Bundesliga very well, and I expect us to get more players from the Bundesliga. We already got Matip, Karius, we already got Naby Keita from the Bundesliga, and I expect more transfers to come in from the Bundesliga because of Jurgen Klopp's detailed analysis and know-how of the whole league. And I think Julian Brandt would be a very valuable option because, as I already said, he could be a second choice player for Mane, he could be a second choice player for Salah. He could even sometimes play as a number 10, as an attacking midfielder. If we decide to play the 4-2-3-1 formation against smaller sides, we could have Henderson and Fabinho in defensive midfield, or Henderson and Naby Keita in defensive midfield, and then we could have Salah on the right, Julian Brandt in the middle, Sadio Mane on the left, and Firmino up front. And that team could break down most of the smaller sides. And I think where you can get a lot of points in the Premier League is against the bottom 13 teams and not against the top 6 sides, because those games can go either way, even though Liverpool have a pretty good record under Jurgen Klopp against the top 6 sides. But last season, for example, we couldn't win a game against the top 6 sides away from home, and we lost most of them. We lost at Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham, and even Chelsea as well, and we got one draw against Arsenal. So that is an area where Liverpool need to improve, and I think somebody like Julian Brandt, who could add creativity and who could score goals from midfield, would be a great option to have for Liverpool in my opinion. So I really hope that Liverpool sign this guy. Another very interesting news is that Liverpool are hoping to take full advantage of the US tour that Liverpool are about to embark on. Liverpool will head to the United States on July the 21st, and they want to have LeBron James, none other than LeBron James, the NBA superstar, who is actually a minority shareholder in Liverpool Football Club. I'm not sure if all of you guys know this, but LeBron James has a 2% minority share percentage in Liverpool Football Club. And speaking to the Sports with Friends podcast, the Liverpool CEO Peter Moore, who used to be the EA CEO as well, said that we are a club that has several hundred million fans around the world. And he said, I think you can credit Tom Werner for LeBron James' involvement here. He's a very interesting part of our portfolio and our family, and we look forward to hopefully seeing him on our travels in the United States once we come over. He has a small stake in the club, as I said previously, 2%, but he's visited Liverpool, attended games before, and yes, I've seen that. I remember some games where LeBron James was actually in attendance at Liverpool FC. We haven't seen him this season, he's obviously been busy, but my hope would be that once he has got some free time, that he can visit us, visit training. Certainly there will be an open invitation for LeBron James to attend one of our matches. So I just thought that this is a very interesting news that not many of you guys heard about, and I haven't seen many articles about this. Liverpool's pre-season schedule is very, very interesting, and it already starts on July the 7th. I think Naby Keita will join Liverpool on July the 1st, and it's already very likely that Naby Keita will have the number 8 shirt, the iconic number 8 shirt that my all-time favorite Liverpool player Steven Gerrard wore, and I think Naby Keita would be a perfect fit for that shirt, because he is going to be one of the best midfielders hopefully in the Premier League for the next, let's say 5 or 10 years, let's hope so anyway. So Liverpool will play Chester, Tranmere Rovers, Bury and Blackburn Rovers in their first 4 games, and those are, just warm-up games for some of the players who didn't go to the World Cup. But then the big one starts, the international competition in the USA. The US tour kicks off with Borussia Dortmund, and then we play Manchester City and Manchester United, and then Napoli as well. But then we play Torino at Anfield. That's our first pre-season game at Anfield, after we played Borussia Dortmund, and at that time Borussia Dortmund manager Jurgen Klopp got a hammering at Anfield because Liverpool won 4-0. And I remember Jurgen Klopp just admiring the Anfield crowd before the game. I think that's where he fell in love with Liverpool a little bit, and that also played a part in his decision to ultimately choose Liverpool and to become the Liverpool manager. So this is, I think, a great lineup of games in pre-season, and I'm really excited for the new season to start. But of course the World Cup is still going strong, so I will be reporting on some games. Some of the stars who are at the World Cup might miss the US tour. I think Firmino will definitely miss it, and maybe Salah and Mane as well. Of course, Salah's Egypt are already out of the World Cup, which is a shame, but that will give Salah enough time to hopefully maybe join Liverpool in the pre-season tour. But Mane, I think Senegal can go through, and then Mane. Usually players get 4 weeks holiday after the World Cup finishes, and the World Cup final is on July the 15th or 16th, something like that. And 4 weeks from that, Firmino could even miss the first Premier League game for Liverpool. So I'm really hoping that's not the case, but we shall wait and see what happens. So let me know what you think about this transfer news in the comments below, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.